Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Political Vigilante. Well, it's exciting times in America. It's exciting times. Joe Biden has just announced that he's running for a second term as president. I still don't think he'll actually be healthy. Either he'll have an legitimate health problem and won't be able to fulfill his first term, and Kamala will take over and she'll run in 2024. Because his approval rating is so low, I don't think he's going to as a chance to win. So they're going to use the sympathy of old Joe's sick, this old, support old Joe or something like that. He's going to be in the hospital or whatever. I don't. But even if he is fully healthy to run, I don't know how you do that. He's doesn't have the energy. He's been demonstrating cognitive decline for 4 years. When he first was running in 2019, it was like, I talked about this on the show numerous times. Like, he doesn't seem like he's mentally there. And questions were asked of Bernie and Bernie's age, and is Bernie fit enough to be president, which are fair questions to ask someone in their late 70s that's running for the toughest job on the planet. And Bernie was like, sharp, smart, got it. But then and I'm going to show you, of course, how Bernie has endorsed him. But look, watch this. This is how Joe Biden announced this. And tell me if this inspires you. Oh, just build back better. What does that campaign even mean? And no, I'm not a Trump supporter. The fact that it could be Trump v. Biden again is just a disaster for this country. These two old creeps. Here we go. Tell me how inspired you guys are.
Freedom, personal freedom, is fundamental to who we are as Americans. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred. That's been the work of my first term, to fight for our democracy. This shouldn't be a red revolution. To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally, and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it. But around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life, while cutting taxes for the very wealthy, dictating what healthcare decisions women can make, banning books, and telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote. When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too. This is not a time to be complacent. That's why I'm running for re-election. Because I know America. I know we're good and decent people. I know we're still a country that believes in honesty, respect, and treating each other with dignity. That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot to succeed in this country. Thank you for choosing us. Every generation of Americans has faced a moment when they have to defend democracy. Stand up for our personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights. And this is our moment. We the people will not decide. I'm proud of you. So if you're with me, go to joebiden.com and sign up. Let's finish this job. I know we can. Because this is the United States of America. There's nothing, simply nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
Oh, let's finish the job. The job of what? What policies did they mention in that? This is 4 years ago I said, and 3 years ago I said, I'm not voting for Joe Biden because here's what Biden's going to do when he gets into office. You can go back and watch videos of me saying this. He gets in office, he's going to do nothing. There's going to be little incremental changes, but he's not going to do anything better than Trump or the Republicans. And the Republicans will keep going crazy far right. And the Republicans are a far right fascist organization. You've got nutbags. Marjorie Taylor Greene's out of her mind. DeSantis is a dangerous person, but they offer no policies. All they offer is, and of course, they're just, and because the Democrats have had 50 years to codify Roe v. Wade and have it. When Carter was president, when Bill Clinton was a 2-term president, when Obama was a 2-term president. I mean, the day of the SCOTUS leak saying that the Supreme Court was going to overturn Roe v. Wade, Nancy Pelosi was campaigning for Henry Cuellar, an anti-abortion Democrat in Texas. And they have the audacity in this video to sit there and say, we're going to fight for a woman's right to choose. But you haven't. You have had decades to fight for this, and you haven't. This is all they can do is say, we're not as bad as the Republicans. That's all they can do. And the Republicans are awful. Imagine this. If Joe Biden, when he got into office, first got into office, said, we're in the middle of a pandemic, healthcare crisis, everybody gets Medicare for all. Boom. Student debt forgiveness because we're in a financial crisis because we had to shut the whole country down for 18 months. People didn't work for 18 months, 2 years. So we're going to get everybody student debt done. We're going to pay for that. Then he would have a campaign video that would just be like, I gave you Medicare for all. I gave you student debt forgiveness. The Republicans are trying to take that away. If they get in office, you're going to lose your Medicare for all, which that would be it. You could win on one issue. You could win on one issue. You could say, oh, I've been building all these green energy jobs. He hasn't done any of that. He's actually, as I've shown you, he has signed more drilling permits on public lands than Trump did. He's worse than Trump on that issue. And so they're going to let that they're happy the Republicans are going so far fascist that they can come and say, we're not as fascist as them. We're the cuddly rainbow flag fascism of the Democratic Party. I mean, the Restrict Act, which both parties are in favor of. You've got Elizabeth Warren. I've shown you she wants to make everybody have to use central banking digital currency because she knows the threat of Bitcoin. They offer nothing. What does Joe Biden offer? What does he offer? And let me show you something here. So let's look at Biden's approval rating. This is from Reuters. Okay, 54% of Americans disapprove of the president. This is 5 days ago before he announced, right? Disapprove. He has a 39% approval rating. That is a horrible percentage. The last president to have this bad of an approval, and there was George W. Bush. Okay. Credibility interval. It's so bad. Biden's approval rating edges lower amid economic concerns. And what did that video tell you? If you're an American whose grocery bill is 30% more than it was a year or two ago, and gas prices, while they're not $5-6 a gallon, they're still high. I mean, California, we're at $4.50, almost $5 a gallon again. And it's the summer where they jump the prices up. So I know it's lower in other parts of the country, but gas is still higher than it was, right? So you're going to the grocery store, you're buying gas, it's more expensive. Everything's more expensive now. Everything's more expensive. Clothes. I mean, I shop at Ross. I just went to Ross to buy a new pair of shoes. And usually the shoes at Ross are like $25, $28. Now they're $34. It's still a deal that they're not $50, $60 shoes, but they're still like $35 shoes. Okay. Right? So how are you going to make my life better, Joe Biden? And no, I'm not advocating for the Republicans. The Republicans are awful. This is what we get with this lesser of two evil. This is incremental centrism. Look how bad his proposal, right? Last month, Biden had a 42% approval rating. Now he's down to 39%. Biden's popularity declined almost steadily after he took office in January 21, bottoming out at 36% in mid-2022. Biden declared last Friday he was running for re-election, but he has yet to formally launch his campaign. And we know what his campaign is going to be. We just saw the video. let's finish what we started. What have you started? You've done nothing. You've made nobody's life better. Drilling companies' lives better. Oh, you've sent $150 billion to Ukraine, so the military industrial lives off. You've made their lives better. Obama is the only person that I can think of that passed a law that made my life better, and that's Obamacare. And even Obamacare, we should have free healthcare in this country. All of Obamacare for me just made my monthly premiums go from $450 a month to like $80 a month. Okay. Is it better healthcare? No, not really, but it's cheaper. I keep myself pretty healthy, so I'm kind of lucky in that regard. That's the only policy I can think of where my life got better. And even that, you're talking about $300, less than $300 better, $280. Okay. That's it. How are our lives better on a daily basis? And then, of course, Bernie Sanders endorses Biden for president, rules out his own 2024 bid. I don't think Bernie should run anyway. I'm not saying Bernie should run, but, the last thing this country needs is a Donald Trump or some other right-wing demagogue who's going to try to undermine American democracy or take away a woman's right to choose and not address the crisis of gun violence or racism, sexism, or homophobia, Sanders said in an interview. And yeah, the Republicans are awful and they're bought and paid for by the NRA, but the Democrats don't do anything about gun violence. They've done nothing. And every time the Democrats, because some Democrats get money from the NRA. How is your life going to get better with these guys? Even as polls suggest that voters in both parties don't want him to run again. Nearly half of Democrats don't want Mr. Biden to run. This is according to a CBS poll. Right? The Democratic president will face the winner of a crowded Republican primary. So there was a Hill poll that came out in November last year, right after the midterms. 59, almost 60% of the people polled from the Hill said if it was Trump versus Biden again, they're voting third party. So if it's Biden versus DeSantis, then DeSantis will probably crush him. Because this is the thing, when the Democratic Party offers nothing, it's easy to let fascists like DeSantis rise up. The Democratic Party offers nothing. And people are like, oh, Marianne Williamson and RFK, they're not going to let them on a debate stage. And if they do, if either one of them gets close, they'll be crushed. You can't reform the Democratic Party from within. And I understand wanting to have some hope and RFK and a Kennedy. Oh, come on, man. It's not going to happen. I'm telling, don't give your money to the Democratic Party. Don't do it. I regret donating money to Bernie's campaign in 2020. And I don't regret in 2016, but I regret in 2020 because they'll all capitulate. And their whole platform will be the Republicans are awful, which they are, but we offer nothing. I'm honestly like, buy Bitcoin and move somewhere in the world that accepts, that is rebuilding their economy or something. I don't know what to tell you because it's like, America is a collapsing empire. It's not, is America going to collapse? No, we are collapsing. The only question is how long and how far is the collapse going to go? And this is what happens when empires collapse. There's ineffective leaders and then just demagogue nationalists. So, yeah, exactly. Someone in the chat just put, save your donations to the Democratic Party for food and water and necessities. So it's crazy. I'm no fan of any Republican, but the Democrats are so useless. They're so useless. If Bernie would have actually fought, Bernie had this moment in 2020, March 15th, 2020. The pandemic had just kind of hit. It was their final debate. And I thought, Bernie's got better go hard. This is his moment. The history books opened up for Bernie Sanders to step up and go, I'm the guy to get us out of this. Imagine if we were talking about President Bernie Sanders and we had, like I said, we had free health care. We had Medicare for all. We had student debt forgiveness. Everybody was going to work with a Green New Deal. We'd still have gun violence and racism and stuff, but it wouldn't be as bad. And he'd be fighting to actually get it done. And Bernie could go into these like red states and say, look, I gave you health care and student debt forgiveness and a really good job. So will you listen to me on some reasonable gun laws? They'd go, yeah. Because they would respect Bernie because he's an independent and he got, beaten by the Democratic Party. They screwed him over. So that's why a lot of like right-leaning people or right-wing people can like respect him. But this is what we've got. So yeah, the entire system is a sham. I'll cover this. I'm going to cover this election and whatever clowns run in the Republican Party. And if Marianne Williamson and RFK won't get any national attention at all. If Biden, for health reasons or whatever, cannot physically run and has to step down as president and Kamala Harris becomes president, then then the Democrats are going to have to open up and have a real primary. And then you'll have RFK and Marianne Williamson on a debate stage with probably Gavin Newsom and whoever else with Kamala Harris. So, I'll keep making jokes about it. I'll keep making jokes about it, but this is insane. Not excited at all. Yeah. And I'm not going to get caught up in, what if you cannot reform you can reform the Democratic Party from within the same way. If you want to reform the Democratic Party from within, you should join a drug cartel and see if you can get the drug cartel to stop selling drugs and stop being violent and just start making vegan smoothies and selling those. I think you have you have a better chance actually with the drug cartels. So thanks for watching our show, guys. We've got live shows in Hawaii this week, Maui, April 27th, Kona on the Big Island, April 28th, Honolulu, April 29th, and then we're in Arizona, Phoenix, May 11th, and Tucson, May 12th. Get your tickets at grahamelwood.com. Sign up for our newsletter, because if you're on the newsletter, then we can't be big tech social media companies can't censor my newsletter. Thanks for watching, everybody. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/GrahamElwood or rockfin.com/GrahamElwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood, and go to grahamelwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.